Okay, today is Thursday, August 27th, and this is the end of the day live trading room session. We're approaching the end of the regular market day session. I'm going to skip over some of the stuff that I normally talk about regarding the adaptive entry system because I've got a really powerful message, I think, to share with you about a couple of decisions that you can make throughout your trading day. If this is your first session, you're coming across this recording, just refer to a prior session. You get a little bit more detail on some of the other things. All right, so today we had well, I'm going to go back to the chart. We had a very interesting start of the day. This time frame right in here, there were some there was some news that was going on that was causing the NASDAQ 100 futures to just spike dramatically up, dramatically down, and in all this choppy period. So just because of my familiarity with the NASDAQ 100 in the live trading room, what I said to our community is I'm going to skip taking any signals during all of this choppy period. I still record them on my spreadsheet because I want to track the overall results every day, whether it's an extreme high or an extreme low in terms of performance. So I did that. I want to share that with you, but there's a really powerful message, I think, here. I skipped all of those and then started taking the signals in about the 10:30 time frame. Got into some really nice patterns, really nice declining patterns, and a really nice long trending upward trending pattern. So here's the message. If we look at the daily summary, and I'm going to skip the two categories that I primarily focus on just for now. I'll come back to those in just a minute. This category right here. Now, if you've seen in a prior session, I talked about how that is the #1 ranked in terms of optimization of your trading category that we track. So if we go to the averages, you'll see here that the 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. time frame trading all signals looking for 10 points is the optimum ranked set of combination of signals, time frame, point production, a number of negative days, and the win-loss ratio. So that's the optimum, okay? So today, this number, the 7 to 4 time frame, closes the day down 1/2 of 1 point, down 1/2 of 1 point, 2 ticks. All right, so what's the big deal? Well, we had 36 trades to get there. So we got some commissions that will weigh on that and end up being a negative day. But I want to share something with you that I think is really telling. First of all, we made a decision. I made a decision earlier in the day, and I shared this with all of you, that I was going to bypass all that choppy mess. But I continued to track it. I continued to put it in the spreadsheet and track all of those trades, even though we had this whole period of we got stopped out, we got stopped out, we got stopped out, etc. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change the time frame from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And now I'm going to go back to my daily summary. And you can see that as of 10 a.m., the first 3 hours of this tracking, we're down 91.25 points. We're down 91.25 points. Now, a lot of traders wouldn't continue trading past that, and I don't blame you. But you have to take a step back and realize, well, there's a lot of chaos during that time period. So we stepped away from a good portion of that. We didn't take those trades, but in tracking all of that, it showed that we were down 91.25 points. But then we just kept taking the signals. We just kept following the signals, very disciplined, as we are supposed to. And at the end of the day, we end up down 1/2 of a point. So we went from being down 91 points to only being down 1/2 of a point. Right towards the end of the day here in the live trading room, there was a trade that was a consensus signal. At 15:25, there was a long consensus signal. I talked about this trade. We weren't getting the traction on it, and I talked about it being late in the day, and I talked about the fact that we don't want this to go all the way back against us and have a 20-point stop in the last half hour of the trading day, no opportunity to recover for that. And so what I did was I locked in a 4-point stop risk instead of 20 points. Why 4 points? Because I'd been tracking the trades throughout the day, which all of you should be doing, tracking your trade, trade by trade every day. And I knew that I was down 3.5 points. And if I'd put that 4-point stop in and the price took off and gave me another 5 or 10 points of profit, that would have been great. But given the fact that we were down at 1.91 points and we end up closing the day down only a half of a point plus the commissions associated with that, I consider that to be a huge win. And so part of the process of trading successfully is keeping track of where you are at any given time. Today, for me, it was keeping track of where I was in terms of absolute performance today, and at what point in time would I want to just cut it off and say, okay, I'm done. And for me, that last trade, I didn't mind taking the trade, but I'm going to cut it off and give myself only 4 points of stop risk on that. I didn't want it to come back 20 points against me. So I think that that's a really powerful message for all of you traders who are really immersing yourself in building your trading business, that part of the success formula is keeping track of where you are throughout the day. Many of you do a very good job of that because you share with me throughout the day, hey, I was down 17 points, now I'm up 40 points. Hey, you know, I'm down 20 points right now, but you know, I'm going to keep trading and taking the signals, and I hear from you later that you finished more favorable than that, either less of a loss or actually converted it to a positive. So I just felt that was a very powerful message, and it says a lot about how New Cycle Trading created the adaptive entry system signals. Listen, you can't possibly be prepared for all of these types of very, very, very dramatic movements. These movements at the beginning of the day were abrupt and enormous. We had 70-point bars. We had 60-point bars. Well, I don't want to ride that in the wrong direction and have 3 back-to-back 20-point losses, which is exactly what we ended up with. When I say I don't want to take those, that's why I decided to stay out of the way and not participate in that volatile period. Here, starting at 9:10, we had a 20-point losing trade on a trend bias trade. Then we won 10. Then we lost 20, lost 20, lost 20. All right, so that starts to get old, but about 10:30, we could see on the chart that things were settling down a little bit. And from 10:30 on, look at all these 10-point winners, all these 5-point winners. That's how we ended up getting to basically break even plus commissions on a day that we were down 91 points. So I was pretty excited about that. And I think it just, like I said, says volumes about how you can be successful as a trader. All right, so now let's do our usual thing. We're going to jump over the 2 categories that we primarily track. This category, which is our 7 to 4 trend bias and continuation trades only, actually finished down 38.5 points. Again, I'm tracking all of the trades, whether I'm taking them live or not. And in this case, we had a discussion in the live trading room about, I don't think it's wise to take trades right now until the market settled down a little bit. So what's interesting about that is we finished down 38.5 points. 60 points of that were 3 consecutive trend bias trades that went to a full loss if we had actually been trading live. So I'm going to record the 38.5 as a losing day, but I know in reality we were wise enough to say we should probably step aside and wait until things quiet down a little bit, and we would have actually been probably positive, more like 22, 25 points. So I actually feel good about that too, because it shows what we can accomplish when we actually take even the most conservative approach to tracking our performance. So in the personal trading plan, I'm going to go here and we have a minus 38.5 points, which we know we were smart enough to avoid some of that hurt. So minus 38.5 points times $20 a point, and we're trading 3 contracts. So that ends up being a loss today of $2,310. And we had 20 trades at 3 contracts a trade. So we have 60 contracts. You can see the number of contracts that we're trading is reasonably consistent too. So when you're too far outside of that arena, there's probably something a little odd about the day. All right, so we end up with a losing day today. Now we're going to jump up to the top here and we're going to do the most important work that's required of us aside from just trading. All right, so we want to take a look at what our actual averages are. On our winning days, we're averaging just under 35 points a day. So my future forecast, I'm going to base on 35 points a day. On our losing days, now we're averaging 20.5 points a day. I had previously planned on 16.9 points. So I'm going to go over here and see, well, we're almost fully through 8 weeks, 7.8 weeks, and we've had 7 losing days. So we're kind of on pace. We're right on pace for our planned losses to be an average of about 1 day a week. So what that means to me is I need to increase my planned losing days from 16.9 to 20.5. So minus 20.5. And now I have what I consider to be a realistic forecast going forward that is entirely based on the actual run rate we've achieved through all of the blue highlighted fields, because those are all the days that we've already closed and completed. We know what the result is. Now, did that big loss today hurt us dramatically? I don't think so at all. You know, we've had other losing days, one other losing day that was bigger than that. They don't really hurt us dramatically. What we're looking at here is starting the account with $5,000 8 weeks ago. Tomorrow will make 8 weeks. And we are on a pace, we are on a run rate in recycling our capital, trading the same capital day in and day out, and scaling our contracts up to 3 contracts. We're on a pace to have an income over a 12-month period of $367,741. So today's loss actually, I think, was, we're reporting it in our tracking here at a point that I think it's greater than what we would have had in reality. I know it was more than I had in reality, because I bowed out during a portion of that that trading. So again, here's the validation. Yeah, okay, we had a losing day. It was really rough in the morning, and then we caught up a bit. We end up losing. I don't feel very good about that. We've had 2 losing days this week, blah, blah, blah. So what you're doing is you start to tell yourself all these stories that have no truth and reality in them. And the only truth and reality is, what's your run rate? It's 34.98 points a day on winning days, and it's 20.53 points a day on losing days. And at that combined run rate, if I continue doing that for the remainder of the 12 months, so after this week, we have 44 weeks left to go. If I continue at that run rate, you know, my income could potentially be $367,000, having started with $5,000. I think that's very powerful. And this tool right here, the personal trading plan, is, aside from the adaptive entry system, the most powerful tool you will want to have in your arsenal as a trader. Okay, so the other category that we track is the all signals, 9:30 to noon. So 9:30 to noon, we did 14 3/4 points. So that was pretty respectable considering where we started out. 14 3/4 times $20 a point is $295. Oops, wrong one. $295, and we're trading 3 contracts. So times 3, so $885 today. and we did 14 trades. So we have 42 contracts, 3 contracts per trade. And so we netted $717 today. Now this week, you can see we've had 3 losing days this week. Wow, today's our first winning day this week in this particular category. So now this is an even better testimony to how effective is the trading plan. Well, our actual winning day run rate is 27.25 points. I'm going to change my future forecast to 27.25. And our actual losing day forecast is 13.45 points a day. However, we've lost 10 days in a matter of 7.8 weeks. So we are a little bit ahead of our plan in terms of losing days. And so I factored that into the equation, and I have a plan, I have a losing day plan of 17.7 points a day, 17.7 points a day. So those numbers combined tell me what I could possibly accomplish over the remaining 12-month period, the remaining 44 weeks of the 12-month period that we have left, and that's a $273,800 income starting with $5,000. Again, this is nothing more than the incredible power of the adaptive entry system to provide signals that we can confidently trade, and then we take those results and we plug them into our trading plan, and it shows the benefit and power of recycling our capital and then scaling our contracts to a point that we are comfortable and confident with that. And of course, don't forget, you can always increase the number of contracts that you want your max to be. If you wanted your max to be 5 contracts, it dramatically changes your future income forecast. All right, so I hope you found that as exciting as I did. Just looking at the averages and looking at the daily summary and realizing that at one point today we were down 91 points, tracking all signals 7 to 4, and yet we finished just about break even. Plus, of course, we got the cost of commissions. I consider that to be a huge win. So that's it for today. Sincerely appreciate you being here. It was a wild ride this morning, but at the end of the day, we had a really great day, great opportunities for profits today.